Hi guys, I'm Sean. This is Alyssa. Gus is in our hearts. And this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. The G20 is underway. In fact, we just did a video that kind of summarized the first day of events. It was a very productive meeting. There was a declaration made and all the countries signed off on it. And it was like, 30 pages long or something? So definitely they were on the same page for that one. Now, there's something else I wanted to explore, which is the UK Prime Minister and how he plugs into this whole thing. I made the mistake in another video calling him the Mayor of London, and I got a lot of crap for that. So I definitely know that he is not the Mayor of London. He is, in fact, the Prime Minister. And so we are going to take a look at two things here. We're going to take a look at Rishi Sunak's, Sure, go ahead. Yeah, say your thing.
Was he newly elected? Says Rishi Sunak's first visit to India as Prime Minister.
You know what? This is where I'm going to display my ignorance. I knew that there was Boris Johnson, and then he got kicked out. And then I think
this guy is new because
I think there was someone else in that seat for a while, and then I think they also got booted, and now all of a sudden it's Rishi Sunak.
Didn't Boris Johnson almost try to get it again after being kicked out? I thought there was something about how
it's a bit of a different
there was
system
than to bring him back.
I think what
I remember they had no one, and they didn't have anyone in that spot. They were scrambling.
Well, I think they've always had someone in the slot, right? Because it's not like they just didn't have a prime minister for a couple of days.
No, that's what it seemed
really?
like.
Okay,
kind of. They had
maybe you're right there.
They had a process that they were getting someone.
Maybe it was someone who was acting in that role. Because I think what it is that the political party that's in power then gets to nominate someone else or to place somebody else in that role. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they have to have an entire election again or anything like that. It's just that they're sort of appointed as prime minister. Yeah. But what do I know? Maybe we'll find out a little bit more here. So I just wanted to hear him speak because quite frankly, I haven't actually heard the man speak before. And so I thought we would do two things. One is we'll take a quick look at a conversation he had with a reporter and how proud he was to be a Hindu. And then I wanted to just take a quick look at his first day at the G20. There's actually an Indian fellow who's doing really well too on the Republican side in the United States. So people are even talking about, could there be an Indian president sometime soon? But anyways, that's another video for another day.
So this is from India Today. Trade talks and K-terror.
K-terror. I wonder what that means.
I'll try to focus.
Ukraine and Russia conflict. So do you think it will cast a shadow, and will it have an effect on the consensus building and the outcome?
Well, first of all, thank you.
Now, this would have been before the first day.
Fantastic for me to be back in India. Obviously, it's personally very special for me to
be. What did you say?
This would have been before they did come to that consensus and sign off on the declaration. So it sounds like the reporter's wondering, are all the countries going to be able to come to a consensus with the Ukraine-Russia situation in the shadows, so to say? Yeah. Or casting a shadow on the event. Yeah.
For me to be back in India. Obviously, it's personally very special for me to be here, particularly with Akshata, and we've thoroughly enjoyed the first few hours of our trip so far. Now, when it comes to Ukraine and Russia and the conflict, one thing I will be doing is highlighting that the devastating impact that Russia's illegal invasion is having on millions of people around the world, particularly on food prices. Russia recently has pulled out of a grain deal that was shipping grain from Ukraine to many poor countries around the world. And now you've seen food prices go up. That's causing suffering for millions of people. It's not right. And one of the things I'll be doing is making people aware of that impact of Russia's illegal war.
So do you think it will have an impact on, will cast a shadow on the consensus building? Do you think there will be problems, the final outcome of G20?
No, I think there'll be many things that we'll be discussing here at the G20 under India's leadership, and I'm confident that we'll make very good progress on a range of different issues. I think G20
and he was absolutely right
for India. India is the right country at the right time to be hosting this, and I feel we're going to have a very good couple of days of deliberations and decisions made.
How do you like the theme of one family?
I think it's a
The
great
theme of one
And actually,
family,
when you say
yeah.
one family.
That's a
I'm
theme?
an
The
example
theme,
of the
yeah.
Of
incredible
the
living
event?
bridge
Yes.
that Prime Minister Modi
One world, one
described
country, one
between
family.
The UK and India. Almost 2 million people like me in the UK of Indian origin. That's why it's very special for me to be here as in the country where my family are from.
Yeah. How cool is that, eh?
Yeah.
Talk about full circle.
Your roots here.
Well, obviously, my wife is from here, from Bangalore. We got married in Bangalore. We used
Oh,
to spend
nice.
lots of time together before we had children in Delhi, and we're trying to figure out if we can go to one of our old favourite restaurants this
Oh, wow.
evening. But look, it's
Going to our
personally
favourite restaurant.
incredibly
Might as
special
well,
for me
right?
to be back in India. It's a country I love dearly, a country where my family are from.
There's that
But
beautiful
to come there
building
and
they're
I'm
showing
guessing
off
he
on the
speaks
right.
Hindi.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And very, he's a very well-spoken
Yeah.
gentleman. And
I'm wondering if he's done interviews in Hindi.
that would be a good, I wonder, what do you guys have to say? I'm sure he has.
Represent the UK, to find ways to forge closer links with India and play a part in making sure that India has an incredibly successful G20. And I'm very proud to see India doing so well on the world stage.
Sir, coming to the bilateral part of it, a free trade agreement is underway, under discussion between the two countries. How soon can we expect to complete?
Well, both Modi ji and I are keen to see a comprehensive and
Modi
ambitious
ji,
trade
a
deal
sign of
concluded
respect.
between our two countries. Both of us think that there is a good deal to be done, but trade deals always take time. They need to work for both countries, and although we've made enormous progress, there is still hard
I wasn't
work to
aware
go.
that they didn't
And
have
that's
a
what we
free
need to
trade
keep
agreement,
going
so
through. The G20
that could be a big
is
thing
not
for
the
both
forum
countries.
for those discussions. Of course, I will touch on that with Prime Minister Modi, but the teams are working very hard. But as I said, there's hard work to go, but we will keep working through it. But I think there is an enormous opportunity for both India and the UK to strengthen our economic cooperation, which will bring real benefits to our citizens in both countries.
Can you tell us something about your equation with Prime Minister Modi? You have met him a couple of times now.
So his
Yes,
relationship
and I
with
have
Modi.
enormous
yeah.
respect for Modi ji, and he's been personally very warm and kind
Modi
to
ji.
me. And we're working very
right.
Is
hard,
that his
as I
nickname?
said, on our shared
It's a
ambition
sign of respect.
concluding an ambitious
Oh,
and
sorry.
comprehensive.
It put the letter G.
No, it's
I got
J-I
confused.
at the end.
Yeah, in the
Yep.
subtitles, it was like Modi space, like G, the letter.
Yeah, the subtitles are a little off, but
Modi
that's
G,
okay.
It sounds like a rap name.
Yeah, yeah.
Gangsta Modi.
And we're working very hard, as I said, on our shared ambition of concluding an ambitious and comprehensive trade deal between India and the UK, because both of us think that would be a good thing, and both of us need to make sure it works for our two countries. And at forums like this, I'm very keen to support Prime Minister Modi in making sure that this G20 is an enormous success for India, which I know it will be, and this has been a great year for India more generally.
Yeah, no kidding, hey? Landed
Lot of
on the
Indian
moon,
community
taking
lives
off
in
for the
your
sun.
country there, and we have
Kicking
seen some
ass and
ugly
javelin
scenes of
throwing.
Khalistani protests, separatist protests. How do you secure Indian interests and there, because this is a big, huge issue between the two countries now.
Yeah, it's a
We have seen
really
some ugly scenes
it's a really important question, and let me just say unequivocally that no form of extremism or violence like that is acceptable in the UK, and that's why we are working very closely with the Indian government to particularly tackle PKE, pro-Khalistan extremism. I don't think it's right. Our security minister recently was just in India talking to his counterparts. We have working groups together to share intelligence and information so that we can root out this kind of violent extremism. It's not right, and I won't tolerate it in the UK.
Sir, how do you look at India's position on Russia and Ukraine?
Well, it's not for me to tell India what positions to take on international issues, but I know India rightly cares about the international rule of law, the UN Charter, and respect for territorial integrity. I think those are things that are universal values that we all share. Those are things that I believe, and India, I know, believes in those things too.
Sir, you have defined India-UK relations as a defining of our times. And what is the roadmap of 2030? Can you give us some broad sense of the bilateral relations?
Yeah. Well, I think the bilateral relationship is in good health, and Prime Minister Modi and I are keen to deepen and broaden our relationship. The FTA is an obvious way for us to do that, which is why
Free
it
trade
remains
agreement
our
there.
priority. And as I said, hard work to go, but I hope we can conclude a successful FTA. I think we can strengthen our security relationship as well. That's something that I've spoken to the Prime Minister about. And then something I'm particularly excited about is increasing the collaboration between our incredible researchers, our scientific community, our universities.
India
The
has
UK and
so
India
much to
are two
offer
of
when
the
it comes to
leading
that.
science, technology superpowers of the world. And I think if we work more closely together, we can create jobs, create new businesses, and help solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
My last question to you. You talked about your roots in India. People also talk, there's much talk about your roots. You are connected to Hinduism and you wear these, rollies in your hands. Tell us something about it.
Yeah, so
what does he have in
I'm a
his
proud
hand? What's in his
Hindu, and
hand?
that's how I was raised, that's how I am. Hopefully I can visit a mandir while I'm here for the next couple of days. And yes, we've just had Raksha Bandhan, so from my sister and my cousins, I have my Rakis, and I didn't have time.
It was
Candy?
that event, that celebration with sisters and brothers, where I think
siblings.
the sister ties the thing around the brother's wrist. I believe that's what he's referencing.
When he said Rockies, I thought he was talking about some sort of candy or something.
No, I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think he was talking about that celebration. At the very least, he was talking about an Indian celebration that he still recognizes, and he is very, he celebrates all of his traditional.
Tell us in the comments, what are Rockies? I have all my Rockies.
Yeah, I think it.
Didn't have time to celebrate Janmashtami properly the other day, but hopefully I said
Busy
I can
man.
make up for that if we visit a mandir this time. But it's something that is important to me. I think faith is something that helps everybody who has faith in their lives, particularly when you have these stressful jobs like I do. Having faith to give you resilience, to give you strength is important, and it provides an outlook on life which I find particularly valuable.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for answering.
Boy, this guy's well spoken.
He is very.
Holy heck. And so diplomatic too as well, because that guy was throwing some more, difficult questions at him here and there. And he just had a really eloquent way of speaking to everything. Boy, no wonder he's their PM.
Yeah.
And I could see him being prime minister for a long time to come, quite frankly. Not that I know what he's been doing, but from the way he presents, it certainly comes off really good. So, and
I couldn't even interrupt him because of how
he filled in all
eloquent of a speaker he was. Yeah, he filled in all the blanks.
Yeah, he was easy to understand. He
Very
didn't
clear.
get too complex. He kind of, it was, everything you would want out of a leader, because a leader should be a good communicator.
Yeah.
And he should bring people together. And I get the sense that that's two things that he's really good at. Now, just to sort of top things off here, I just wanted to see a short little video from his YouTube channel about his first day in India. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll go our way here. Monkey!
First day in India
Now you
as
may be
Prime
thinking,
Minister.
why am I going to the G20? What's the point? Put simply, global issues matter. There are some things we simply can't do alone. Countries have to work together. We saw this during COVID, and it's right that we come together to fight climate change and
That
Putin's
wonderful
illegal
drive
war.
to the
The
venue.
G20 and summits like it provide a unique opportunity to talk face-to-face with the leaders of other countries and address those issues.
That must be his
and
wife,
the
of
decisions
course.
we make there will deliver the jobs, growth and security that British people expect of their PM. So I'm looking forward to a productive few days.
Meeting with other world leaders there. Jays,
Little
cool.
promo bit there.
Just a little short bit there.
Nice editing.
But it's
Nice music.
once again, he's sort of communicating
Inspirational.
in sort of a simple way. Global issues matter. That's why I'm here. I'm building bridges. This is what your prime minister should be doing. So, geez, well, I'm really happy we got to know a little bit more about Rishi Sunak here. Oh, you're looking up globalization, eh?
Yeah, just again to see the. My only concern is sometimes if you get a little bit too globalized,
you perhaps don't have a chance to accurately, what is it? Sort of have the needs of your specific country met, because it's too much concession between countries or you lose your unique flavor, or I've heard a lot of criticisms levied against the whole globalization thing. I think some people are afraid of like a one world government kind of
It's-
situation developing.
yeah, it's just this I don't, where's this from? This is saying, what are 3 negative effects of globalization? Negative effects of globalization include greater inequality, increased corruption,
Kind of what I was trying to speak to
reduction
there.
in sovereignty, erosion of cultural identity, degradation of the environment. Although they're all saying they're fighting climate change.
Yeah, I think you would hear a lot of people say, well, no, we believe that it's actually going to improve the environment, that it maintains sovereignty, and that it reduces corruption. So I think it really depends on who you talk to.
I can't remember the word. What's the word in context of, say, business and influence of big companies, influence, like when people are like, let's move away from
Monopoly?
that centralization, or less, is it centralized? More centralized?
Maybe like a less centralized approach to things, or
yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same way for politically speaking. Like I feel like, I feel like globalization, if you look at it in the context, you could relate it to big tech or these few little. Sometimes if it just gets more and more and more globalized, it's like the few maybe hold the
power
actual
over the many.
In a way, and some like it's hard to kind of collaborate with all these countries equally, but like the countries kind of need to gain or retain their kind of independence and their rights and their morals and their values and what. So yeah, I get a little bit obviously to work together, but I find it kind of awkward that.
So you
not a fan of Putin. Prior to the Ukraine thing, even like he poisons like his competitors. He's corrupt. He's totally corrupt, and it's just like weird when it's like, is he being called out really, or he's being included in this thing? He's there, and there's just like shaking hands, like nothing's going on.
Russia is a part of the G20, so they are
included. It's just weird. So this globalization thing, it's like, okay, we're all, because they have these like-minded values, are they just going to brush past the whole war thing?
No, I don't think they brushed past it. There was in the statement. I
did find it interesting that they were like in Bali, they were tough in the declaration on Russia. They made a comment about their aggression. Yeah. This time they didn't. And the first post video we saw that was the headline. For a lot of the video, kept saying like, India was tough on Russia before and not now, or like that was like a major piece of information. At least that video was trying to express like, oh, this is a big deal that they didn't make this comment, this time. What
I've heard from some people is that this is supposed to be more so the G20 and not entirely dominated by the Russian-Ukraine discussion. But clearly there was language there in the statement that all the countries signed off on where, they made their thoughts known. About not entering other people's territories and statements to that effect. So
it's just kind of hard to put to the side. I feel like there's got to be some type of boundary in a way where, I don't know, if they're having this meeting and they're all like working together as countries, and like Russia's still having its same influence at this meeting in the same way, nothing's going on. It's sort of like, okay, well, that politician just doesn't seem to good morals, and like, do you really want to have them included on these world decisions and all these things?
Oh my gosh, I mean, we're opening up a whole can of worms where there's a lot of considerations here, and we could talk about everything from countries' energy needs and countries needing to rely on Russia for those energy needs. We could talk about countries with differing opinions, who have maybe a different relationship to Russia than some of the countries that we're used to, more so here in the West. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts here.
It's saying in general, globalization decreases the cost of manufacturing. Did I already mention that comment? This means that companies can offer goods at a lower price to consumers. Blah, blah, blah. Is that because you're working, with you're not manufacturing within your own country?
That could be it. Yeah, you're sort of
trade amongst all the. But then it's like it gets to the point where you rely a bit too much.
More of a unified approach to capitalism.
Rely a little bit too much on those products being manufactured and supplied by other countries. And then when things happen and your morals don't align, then I guess the prices go up, and because you're like, okay, we don't
you know,
want
I think that
oil.
that we could really dig into this at a deeper level with, you know, a video perhaps specifically on this, showing the different perspectives. Like, you know, as I understand it, for example, you would have someone like Trump who's not pro globalization, then you've got someone like Biden who is, and so it would be really interesting to sort of see that in sort of a more concentrated form in a video that we could react to. So maybe you guys have some suggestions around that. But wow, well, there you go. We'll maybe sort of circle back around to our friend Rishi Sunak here.
So globalization, though, it does include companies. So when I was talking about big tech and things like that, and technology,
absolutely, yeah, industry,
this is how trade
technology,
and technology have
absolutely,
made the world into a more
education. I'm sure,
and interdependent place.
Yeah. It's really sort of a bringing together and a collaboration at that different level.
But then I do feel like you kind of like the maybe stronger the people or the countries that are able to have more of a power and influence.
So that's some of the criticism it gets, right? Yeah, is that they're, you know, works really well for these rich countries, but is it so much in the favor of some of these other countries that are perhaps more so manufacturing the goods instead of buying them? You know, there's all these sorts of questions. This is definitely we would, you know,
someone's like winning the market maybe by far, and then the other stuff. They're just totally
you know,
taking over the market.
I think someone in favor of globalization would say that actually it's designed to make it so that everybody gets to share in the wealth and that everyone gets to be a member at the table making some of these strategic decisions. But that is another discussion, I'm afraid, for another time, if only because our camera's going to run out of battery. Okay. But yeah, there you go.
Love you guys. See you the next one. I don't need to say it. I'll just have the things pop up.
Yeah, it's been enough yakking.
So thanks.
This is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. IRH signing off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.